for Majestic, if that crazy scenario happens, maybe then we see him like really kind of getting nervous or something, and maybe he plays different. But until then, I think it can be pretty good for him, just because of the lack of nerves.
Yeah, so here we go. We are going to start up game number 1. It will be on Ascension to Ire. And down here in the bottom right, the blue Zerg from Finland. It is the man himself. It is Serral.
We do have to the upper left-hand side the red Protoss player representing Spain playing in his home country. Great to see a Spanish player making it to the round of 12. It is, of course, Majestic.
I like the little zoom and twist you got going. I think you got it down a little bit better than Roddy. Don't tell him I said that. But
thanks. It's okay. I told Roddy I wanted to observe. He's like, no. I'm pro player, you know.
He's
like, okay,
the pro, yeah. He's like, I got this.
Yeah, I've got that twist, though, you know. It's all about the first 10 seconds of the game.
At least you got that down. We'll see how the rest of the cast goes. I'm sure we'll be doing just fine.
Kind of excited for map 1. Ascension to Ire is the sort of map already where it's like kind of friendly to macro. It's a pretty good one for Zerg in terms of interjecting themselves between bases of the Protoss. Especially, you know, if you expect the Protoss to take natural here and then the third base down here, suddenly you're going to see a lot of Zerg rotations from this ramp up to this ramp, some splits. And that's when things can get a little bit troubling for the Protoss player. If Majestic even lets it go that long, because again, I wouldn't be surprised if he did throw out some 2-base kind of crazy stuff. Maybe even take a third Nexus, but attack super early as well with the intention to end the game. There's so much he could try out, and we'll just have to see what he really wants to go for.
Yeah, I was half expecting Majestic to come onto this map and do that that weird Neeb SOS build where you proxy a robo and you just try to end the game like that. But it seems like so far everything is pretty standard, although the first probe is going to head out onto the map. Let's see where this tricky bugger goes.
Yeah, just a little bit of information gathering for now, I guess. Get over towards the third base, look to see if that's going to be coming down. Obviously, if you can block it for a second or two, perhaps. But for seconds on the way out, this probe isn't going to be too successful. You mostly just want to check, you know, are you going to free bases? Make sure you're not going for a super fast lair, getting set up in towards that Nidus network, etc. Because that's when you do have to start changing your build as the Protoss player. And as that probe comes into the right-hand side, we'll patrol around, and again, just looking to see if a drone does come over. One thing, we'll chase it away, and again, from now, probe might just dive towards the natural, maybe see a drone count, or he's just going to turn away and get back home.
He's got some time. Speed only about halfway done. Does scout the third base coming down. Looks like the option here that he chose is going to be the Twilight Council. I had Stargate on the mind because that seems to be the
flavor of the
month.
Or the even.
So many people are doing it. It's very safe. You can potentially get some damage. You know, it has high potential, but it also is very safe for taking that third base. But Majestic, he is known for doing this build in PvZ, where he does get the Twilight Council into Robo, and then throws down a Dark Shrine. Did it a bunch against Lambo. Mixed it up in Game 3, where he went for Resonating Glaives instead.
Yep.
And transitioned somehow into an Archon drop eventually.
Yeah.
But let's see how this works out.
Yeah, Majestic's been playing a lot of Twilight openers rather than Stargate, I feel, in PvZ this weekend. I've seen him go Glaives myself in a couple of games. I think I saw him against Nurture yesterday, a couple of practice games too. He's been going for a lot of Glaives, as he does have a quick pause here for just a moment. But this time it's going to be that Dark Shrine. Now, one game I saw Majestic playing, I think it was actually against Slivko yesterday, was the series I casted. And he played this very interesting build where he actually went for this Dark Shrine opening, and obviously usually you expect 4 Dark Templar. But this time he only warped in 2, and because of that it allowed him to go into some faster Immortal production, and he basically followed it up with a fake third Nexus, and into a big attack. And I think it's things like that, like little mind games of like just kind of only building 2 DTs instead of 4 and then going for a big attack after that you don't usually go for. I think little things like that might be the sort of way in which you can make progress here against Serral, or maybe pick up a victory where Serral isn't expecting to drop a map.
Yeah, I definitely do that. I do think that's a big option. I agree with you. Perhaps Majestic was watching Showtime against Serral, and he feels a little bit inspired. Maybe he will try to go for some macro games. This is a best of 5, so of course he has a lot of time to make these decisions over the course of this entire series. But we're still in the middle of this pause. We haven't gotten any word as to why the game is paused, and so we're just going to have to chill.
Yeah, chill, sit back. I think one of the questions on a lot of people's minds today is, are we actually going to see Battle on the Boardwalk as a map?
I know. I was thinking the same thing. We saw it in Bly versus Euthermal.
Yeah.
I asked earlier to Frank, our admin. He was like, Yeah, I think we've only seen it one time or 2 times, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's like Blue Thermal, and that's the only one I can recall. I mean, maybe there was something on B Stream, but it really isn't being loved as a map. Obviously, best of 5's opening up the maps a bit more, but with that said, we are going in towards the Resume, and the gateways are coming down, setting up in towards, well, just preparation for this Dark Shrine finishing. There's the Warp Prism ready to go, and if he has a Chrono, can get that Prism out nice and quick, get it across the map in time to warp those DTs in. Does actually have to start it though, as well, Serral does this fast lair again, and he did this a lot yesterday against Showtime, and me and Roddy both kind of, you know, we hummed and hard about this, because he did a mixture of sort of fast Hydra Dance, a fast Nidus all in. It's just interesting that he did it in both games, and oftentimes you don't go for this. You go for the the Evo Chamber, the melee upgrade initially, and then you move into a lair later and into Hydras as a transition. But the lair early generally suggests aggression. You go into like a fast Hydra Den and you make use of those with like a big Hydra link push. So Serral seems to be preferring this right now. From yesterday through to today. Let's see how it rolls out from here in game number 1 of this best of 5.
Yeah, I would have to think that he is just going to sit back. I don't think he's going to do any crazy, Nidus play or anything super aggressive. Perhaps he is just going to be safe, get that Overseer, make sure that he has some vision down. He is making a bunch of lings right now, as I do say that. He's staying on 48 drones for now, and does have that Hydralisk Den started up and ready to go. So he should be ready for these Archons that are coming in.
This is something which Serral's doing right now, this kind of Ling run by over to the left-hand side to try and cancel this third base. This is something we saw yesterday that Slivko wasn't doing against Majestic, and so Majestic was kind of getting away with doing whatever he wanted. But this time Serral will come in and try and punish this. Only one Adepti on the third as the Archons across the map are already under attack. The Queen's coming forward, pushing the Warp Prism away. Obviously that's dangerous. If it goes down, those Archons will fall with it. Not going to be the case for now, as one DT warped in, the Lings will be pushed back. But again, just forces warpings at home, and Majestic having to defend there as he throws down Double Forge. He's going to continue with the macro aspects of this, as is Serral, droning up heavily, Hydra speed on the way, going into that Evolution Chamber as well to continue onwards.
Yeah, the one positive here for Majestic is that he didn't lose anything. It was getting a little bit scary as he got close to the Queens and he wasn't looking at the Warp Prism that was being shot down, but made it out of there with a bit of health and did regen those shields by now. Is making another Archon. So he's committing pretty heavily to just an Archon army right now. He has 3 Archons and 1 Stalker.
Yeah, I think it was the 2 DTs that he warped in over here to defend, and now he's made it an Archon. I mean, I guess it works kind of nice against the Lings, but not if you... I guess the shield battery, right? I mean, the shields are endless. So the Lings have to turn away, and they're going to, well, grab maybe a probe or 2 transferring towards this third base. So Serral, just on the map, find opportunities. The probes go one at a time, finally. The 4th probe has learned. He's heard tales of these Lings outside of the base, and he turns back around, as we do see Serral. Well, that's nice. You know, free workers being picked up here, some good damage dealt as he comes back through to this top side. And, well, just sits there for the Lings, and it's a +1 missile upgrade. Will go fairly heavy on the Hydras. Missing a Balin Nest, so just Ling Hydra right now is going to be the play from him.
Yeah, he's going to grab that 4th base, and as you were talking about this aggression at the 3rd base, it didn't really find too much. You know, it forced some Warpins back at home. It killed an Adept. Yeah, he got, 3 probes in total. But at the end of the day, Majestic, with that Archon drop style, was able to get a relatively safe and on-time 3rd base. So he should be feeling in the zone right now, has his upgrades coming, the 1-1 with the Double Forge, the Blink on the way, getting that Robotics Bay up. He has constant Immortal production, already has a nice unit composition with those Archons from earlier on. So he's just going to be chilling here on 3 bases, and I would expect a push on a +2 timing. We saw him do this against other Zergs at this tournament, but generally it wasn't with Double Forge. It was just with the +2 attack. So he's more invested now, and I'm curious to see how this is going to work out.
Yeah, the Double Forge is really interesting. It's not really something you do in PvZ at all. In fact, most Protoss players don't even get armor upgrades late game. By that time, they sort of have +3 attack. They're like, okay, let's go into shield upgrades now because I'm building a lot of Archons and Mortals. You know, my air units benefit from that as well. You do see these Lings, well, those Archons obviously just absolutely murder those. So they have to back away as Serral going to throw down. Well, he's already got the Lurker Den well on the way. That's going to be his transition here as we see the Colossi building up from Majestic. Obviously something that's become a lot more popular in this patch. Actually getting Colossi out to fight against the Ling Hydra forces.
Yeah, we've seen what it can do. It's pretty brutal. If you can land those shots onto a line of Hydras or any Lings that charge in, with the help of Archons, you're just going to be shredding that Zerg army. And so it is nice that we do see Serral transitioning, and he's not going to stay on this composition for too long. Does have the Lurker Den, does have the Infestation Pit for a tech transition later on in this game. The question is, can he get there fast enough, or is Majestic going to try to put on the pressure? Majestic does take that 4th base, but does have a couple of Colossi about to finish with the 2-2 timing and charge. And I think this is a huge timing that Majestic should try to take advantage of.
Serral's coming up to the top side. I mean, it's difficult to be the aggressor as Majestic with that 2-2. If Serral's going to start dropping masses of units into your main, he's also going to have those Lurkers finishing up shortly, so he's going to be able to start positioning himself into very abusable positions where Majestic might have trouble breaking through. Here you go, this initial Ling Hydra drop into the main as the rest of Serral's army still centralized, doesn't know where it wants to go just yet. I'm sure we'll start making a move soon, and it is going to go south. I like what Majestic's doing, leaving a lot of his army south, expecting something like this. Well, he's going to have to still send something up here, though, to defend, as right now gates are being unpowered, Robo's unpowered. I mean, a lot of different units in a lot of trouble here, a lot of different structures going down. And Serral is on that 4th base as well. Majestic is just all over.
Yeah. Turns out that the one Colossus, along with the army, was enough, but he separates his army and he brings half of it up here, so he can't defend the 4th base, and now Serral's getting on top of his 3rd base, has those Lurkers in position. We do have some nice Sim City here by Majestic, has a couple of gateways forward. Now the Colossi are getting on top of those Lurkers, who maybe have pushed a little bit too far forward, but the Ling's getting in the front, doing a nice bit of damage to Majestic's front line, so a pretty nice trade here for Serral.
It's kind of funny as Serral drops back in towards the main base as well, but the Sim City of the Protoss and the 3rd helps so much earlier, but as soon as Lurkers come up, sometimes it just makes it so difficult as well, having to push through your own choke point into those Lurkers. As the Zerg player jumps on top of this Colossus here on the 3rd base, it goes down. I mean, everything is just dying off for Majestic. The drop in the main was cleaned up once again. Serral's had to back away there, but it's just the distraction that's allowed him to position himself on the 3rd, on the 4th, and it's this position that's never going to be broken now, I don't think, for Majestic. He just does not have enough. As these Hydras of Serral keep going to work, they keep picking away at the 3rd base. A new Colossus comes in, but the Lurkers are still holding strong, and Serral really looks as though he's got this one under control.
Majestic not giving up yet. He's not willing to GG out of this one, although it does look all but over at this point. Definitely going against his attitude. When I was talking to him earlier, he was like, yeah, it's Serral. I'm probably not going to win this one. I know it. You know, everybody knows it. But he's really sticking in this one. He believes in the Colossus, that one Colossus he's got. But Serral is about to pounce on this guy, going to cancel that other 3rd base. Has Hydras in position, and we'll take out a bunch of these probes. And that should be all but it for game number 1. And there it is. GG. Serral will take it on Ascension to Ire.
If it goes longer and you're the slightly less favored player, of course you're the guy that's going to be less expected to do well. So it's a tough one. I think Majestic has to try something. Like, I mean, the macro play didn't work. Obviously, we saw that already as we do kick it off into game number 2. To the top right-hand side, our Blue Protoss player representing Spain here in Barcelona. Let's see if he can bounce back and tie it up. It's Majestic.
And down here in the bottom left, this is the Zerg player from Finland. This is Serral. By the way, you got one game for Majestic on the...
That's because on my screen, like, it's the wrong way around, though. Like, Serral's also Protoss right now. The name's swapped around, so Serral is in red and Zerg and the supply is his. I think it'll get fixed
yeah, I was
getting
confused by that.
Yeah,
it's a bit weird.
It's okay. It'll get fixed up in a moment, guys. Serral is, of course, 1-0 up here in the series. I mean, I could put it the other way around.
Yeah, maybe
but
you
then
should switch it for now.
Yeah, okay. But then Serral's
that makes
like
sense
Protoss,
for
like,
new viewers who come in. They're like, oh, wow, Majestic took game 1. But not the case. I want to see crazy stuff out of Majestic. I want to see the Immortal All-Ins you're talking about. But if I were Serral, I think I would just scout every game and just try to play safe. Especially after game number 1, you're like, oh, I'm totally in the zone. I'm totally confident against this guy. As long as I don't die to anything weird, I should be able to win. And I think that's the play for Serral. Just scout and be safe.
Yep. Overlord speed, I think, is something that he should definitely go for. If he doesn't have, like, if he has Overlord speed, just gives him a scan. With the scan, he should just be completely fine. So, setting up in towards this. I mean, Nexus coming down, Hatchet coming down here on Blackpink for game number 2 of this series right now.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of Blackpink so far. Seems to be this new, very enjoyable macro map, just 2-player, very straight up, not really too hard to take your third base. You can really set up those just straight up games. It reminds me of Overgrowth when it first came in, or Ascension Ire, Abyssal Reef, maps that stick around for a very long time.
Yeah, definitely.
I think most people have been pretty positive about Blackpink overall. What are your thoughts?
I really didn't like the map when I first saw it, I'm not going to lie, but I think there's been like a couple changes which spiced it up, and I think just seeing it play out kind of convinced me a lot more. Like when I first looked at it, I'm like, it just feels so choky. Like this base down here feels kind of weird as well, and yeah, I just wasn't too sure. Like this like super choke into the third as well, but it actually plays out really well. Like it's very interesting in the middle. We see different expansions being taken, which is something I love on maps. Like Abyssal Reef's a great example. You can take different third bases, forward bases. It goes on, and I think that's a big thing about making maps interesting enough to stay in the map for a long time and to become kind of an absolute classic here.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Looking at the builds that are coming to fruition, of course Majestic is going to do this again. It seems to be his go-to in this matchup. It's pretty good. You can put on some pressure. You make a couple of DTs back at home to defend your third base as you do get that up with your pressure. But Serral was really on top of it in game number 1, had those queens in position. So we'll see if he can hold it off here once again.
Yeah, same build. I wonder if he does, like I said, like he was doing that kind of cheeky little build with the 2 DTs. I wonder if that's going to be his way to change it up, because it's very weird to see someone do the same build twice, especially in PvZ where there's a matchup with so many different ways to open. And especially as we've seen Majestic doing so many different things throughout the weekend as well. I would be surprised if this was exactly the same here, as obviously for now it looks it. And I mean, from Serral, it's the same again. This fast lair is super, super interesting.
Yeah, most likely for basically the same play. I feel like
I think so
this is like a replay of game number 1, just on a different map. It's kind of interesting the way that these guys do exactly the same builds. Not the most entertaining thing. I was hoping Majestic would come in with some crazy builds so far, but it's been all standard from him.
Yeah, I really thought I just don't understand. Like, oh, this is interesting. The hidden third base in the top left-hand side. I mean, that's the way to change things up, to kind of make your opponent kind of guess and wonder a little bit, because Serral has a lot of good map control. Ling's on the map. He's got Ling's on watchtowers, but he doesn't see this base to the top left. So I mean, it's a way to just change it up, and he actually starts up Blink pretty quick off of the Twilight Council as well here. And as he starts to warp in, 2 DTs will be all it is for now. So let's see how this goes as he comes in, and he's going to poke around, just going to see what he can get up to. I mean, again, with the 2 DTs and the Blink, it looks more like that sort of aggressive opportunity, and there's the extra gateways coming down. But then why would you hide your third base? Because then it's sort of like, hey, I'm not taking a third, I am all in you, but actually put it down as a fake, and yeah, it's sort of like the wrong way around. Like, it doesn't really add up.
It is kind of weird. It's a huge gamble too, because if his third base gets found, he's pretty much, it's over. Like, he cannot defend that. He can try to recall, but then maybe Serral just walks across the map and attacks his natural. So it's interesting, because the second that Serral saw this build coming across, he immediately moved his Overlord over to the third base to check, and he's like,
yeah,
what are you doing? It's going to force out a bunch of units. Yes, Serral is going to stay on 54 drones for a while as he kind of freaks out before he realizes. But then once he realizes, what is that going to mean for Majestic? Can he really hold this base for a long time? I guess with 4 centuries maybe, but
I think it was just the recall. I think you said it, like recall over here, so it's like a hidden move out. It's kind of I guess, so usually kind of build this fake third anyways to kind of fake your opponent out. So he builds it up here in the kind of sense that, hey, I can recall over here and maybe catch you off guard with the actual push forwards. However, I think the War Prism just got pushed back, just surviving there to the bottom right side. And we are going to be seeing these sentries Stalkers starting to gather up. They're in a very kind of scary position. They're walking across creep to try and join up with the Prism. Man, Serral, I just think the lack of a third base being seen, it just means that Serral has way too much for Majestic to really fight against.
So this is going to be the awkward part, right? Where he's on creep, and he's trying to look big, right? He's trying to be like, oh yeah, I'm attacking you, I don't have a third base, I am all-inning you. But that doesn't look like enough units, to me, at least.
No,
he's like, you're supposed to have like 7-8 gateways.
I mean,
what is that?
The supplies are a little bit of the wrong way around still on the overlay guys, but I mean, Serral 30 supply up while playing kind of Hydroling. I mean, that's the sort of supply you meant to be ahead when playing roaches against an attack like this. But with Hydras, this is going to be absolutely impossible, I think, for Majestic to really fight us. Here he goes, Serral. You can see how confident he is. He's just pushing forwards already. 2 or 3 Archons going down now, the third and final one as well. Zealots will melt. Queens are transfusing to keep things alive. The second Prism arrives, but I don't think that's really going to matter much at all here. I mean, it's just not going to be enough. GG, and Serral takes game 2 just like that.
His favorite in the tournament. It is hard to have those ideas. He got to China, should be happy about that. He is playing pretty comfortably. Not working out for him so far, but let's go ahead and introduce our players for game number 3 on Catalyst. Up in the top left, this is the Zerg player from Finland. This is Serral.
And he is the one that's going to go crazy. He's just going to straight up 12 pool this right from the get-go.
He's sick of it. He's done with this series.
He's like, get me into the round of 8. I'm meant to be there anyways. To the bottom right-hand side, our blue Protoss player is, of course, Majestic, representing Spain. And, well, he will go Gateway first, but you have to on Catalyst because it is a small map, so attacks like this would be... I mean, it's a good one for 12 pool because it's short. The Lings arrive quickly. I mean, let's see if Majestic can just defend properly. See if he can hold his nerve and get this going.
I think he will be able to. We'll see what kind of pressure Serral can get done. This should be Majestic playing extremely comfortably in this position, and he does get that very important scout off with the probe. We'll come in here, sees no hatchery. That's weird. Let me come up here. Are you really just playing safe? No. You have a bunch of Lings about to pop. And now he will know that this attack is coming. So let's see how he defends this one back at his base.
Yep, 8 Lings into the hatchery, build the Queen a little bit later on. It's just the way that this build works out. It's kind of funny, it's like 12 pool nowadays is a lot less all-in than it used to be. Obviously, it has to do damage. If you do nothing, you are behind. But you get the hatchery quite naturally, early on because you've got 12 workers from the start, so the income's kind of there. You just can't make enough Zerglings with a lot of you have. Serral coming down to the south will be arriving momentarily. Actually, Majestic going to pull probes, but he's not fully walled off yet. Oh, well, I mean, obviously the Zealot pops out too. That will help to fight. I mean, it's already nice from Serral. He's already denying mining time with, 6 workers here for what is going to be a while. And you can see he's not even looking to take the fight. As 2 more Lings arrive, it's now 8 Lings in total. As he comes in and gets this going. As we do see the Lings going to be jumping onto the probes, and well, the Zealot's going to start taking the fight as well. Actually, you've already 4 or 5 workers going down. I mean, that's the sort of damage you need with a 12 pool. Okay. And the Zealot as well.
He's going to get everything here. I think that Zealot should go down.
Yes.
It's going to be extremely close, but the 2 Lings with barely any health get a Zealot and 6 probe kills. Definitely going to be worth it in the end here for Serral. I liked Majestic's idea. He pulls down the probes. He tries to fight in a good position, but he couldn't get in between the pylon in time, and so he just got totally surrounded by the Lings, and Serral just with a bit of outplay, showing some fun for the fans, I suppose, with this aggressive build.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely done more than enough. If you just bring up the income quickly here, you can see Majestic obviously took a little bit of a lead, but now it's going to even out a lot, and it just does what Serral wants it to do. It puts Majestic off, it slows him down, and having to pull 6 workers off the line for a good amount of time, that's the difference in workers from the early game. So, well, here we go, Adept will shade in. It's always kind of one of the things about a 12 pool, the kind of the counter-attack for the units that were made. And that's why it was really nice to also pick off the Zealot. By picking off the Zealot, you completely limit the counter-attack, and you don't have to make more Lings to then deal with that, combined with an Adept or so. Obviously, you're going to have to make a couple. But again, it just means you can keep on drawing. You can see here, Serral 2 workers up. A little bit of a later third hatch than we'd usually expect, simply because it was this 12 pool. And that's maybe one of his own disadvantages again here. As we see, actually, 6 more Lings on the way once more to help with these Adepts, apparently. While Majestic just throws down that robo facility.
He's going to get a nice amount of damage. Gets 3 drones. Probably will get about 4 or 5. Serral trying to cancel right there at the last second, I should say. Gets 5 drones in total, so nice little trade back for Majestic just with those 2 Adepts. And now it's Serral that's got a bunch of units on the map and is looking to move across the map. I suppose he can at least deny a third base for quite a while. Majestic isn't really there yet, but will at least go across the map for now. Has speed about to finish up, and will be putting on that pressure as he gets down his third base.
Yeah, this is a nice little bit of damage done by Majestic. You can see he takes a 5-worker lead off it with those couple of Adepts coming in. He actually had a really cool bit of micro as well. He actually used the Adept shade to block one of the drones from becoming a Spore Crawler, which was kind of nice. just, nice little things. He's doing things right, counter-attacking off of this, knowing that he's going to force units, and it's exactly what he's done. I mean, Ling Speed's going to finish, and I mean, okay, like having 10 Lings on the map is nice, maybe to deny a third Nexus coming down right away, but Serral would much rather have had those Lings be drones, and also have obviously not lost the 5 drones as well. As currently, well, he does set that third hatchery up. I think it's kind of crazy because I really felt the 12 pool did enough for Serral, but with the counter-attack doing so much, I think Majestic's actually come out of this overall in a fairly fine position. Now, Serral's definitely not, down and out and going to be, having to pull a miracle to get back in. But he's definitely not kind of in a position he would be in, say, if he'd just gone straight for the macro play, I think.
So what is going to be the build here from Majestic? He's making a quick Colossus off of 2 bases. How many gateway does he have right now? He has 2 with 2 more on the way. He's going to be going up against roaches, which definitely can be pretty nice against this. I like the idea for Majestic. Your opponent is rushing out Ling Hydra a couple of games in a row. Maybe if you can. Okay, what the hell is going on in this game, Wardy? I don't understand what this guy is doing. He's going to recall again.
Yeah.
Is this going to become a standard thing where you make a Nexus to recall to?
So he's going to recall, he builds a pylon so he can warp in quickly as well, which I guess is kind of nice. Like, you can warp in quick with a proxy pylon because the Nexus is there. Yeah, I mean, I guess he just goes like a 2-base Colossus all in, and the recall's there to kind of hide it. Like, in this game, it works a bit better, right? Because it was weird early, and because it's weird early, Serral not seeing the third Nexus might be like, okay, well, he's just set back a little bit. He's thrown off by the 12 pool. So it works a little bit better than it does on Blackpink, I feel, but is it actually going to work? I'm not sure. Serral he's making a second Roach Roaring. That's a little bit of a mistake for me. He makes Burrow now as well. He's already making Roaches, so obviously he's got that up. Maybe just afraid he's going to lose his Roach Roaring. I mean, where even is it? In the main, I don't see why he'd make a second one, so it's just a mistake.
Yeah.
4th hatch coming down. He is just making Roaches off of 60 drones. He isn't kind of droning up any further, which is, exactly what he needs to do. He's sending those Roaches out on the map. He's not sitting waiting for kind of an attack as there's the recall.
This is ridiculous. This is actually happening. Okay, he does have 7 sentries with this, so he's going to be looking to try to zone out the Roaches or whatever units. Of course, Serral sees there's no third Nexus again. So he has to be expecting an attack. As you mentioned, he's not making any drones. He's just sitting on 58, making only Roaches right now. He's going to see the attack, but a bunch of Roaches get caught off before this fight even goes down.
Yeah, we're going to see some Roaches from the back is nice as well. Getting the flank in will be one of the things which obviously uses a lot more force fields a lot faster. Serral's still just spamming out Roaches. He has some drones will be caught as well. Already 7 drones going down. Here we go. This is the moment for Serral, but good force fields by Majestic. He's controlling this well so far, as now some Lings being picked off too. Majestic has put himself in a great position. Tunneling claws on the Roach Roaring at the 3rd base means that it's actually very exposed here, as you are going to see that burrow on the Roaches once again. No Observer. That's on the way now, but Serral will lose his 3rd base, and Majestic is starting to make this big build work out, as so far Serral just does not have enough.
I like it. It actually works, And it looks like on the opposite side, Serral was doing the, he actually made the second Roach Warren for the Tunneling Claws upgrade as soon as possible. It was that build that we have seen in the past.
Very old
He's going to try to get on top of these Colossi, though the Unburrow, that Observer was not in position right on time. Pickup on the Colossus is not on time on the first one. At least that second one is kept alive for quite a long time. But this might just be too many Roaches from Serral as he unburrows underneath everything, and he is going to take out this army.
This is crazy. Like, if he didn't have Burrow and Tunneling Claws on that second Roach Road, it was actually a genius play. It was not a mistake. I was so wrong. GG